Happy Thursday, everybody. I usually try to base these off of, life experience or, life improvements, just different things that, not necessarily advice so much as just ways of telling a story that may possibly help somebody else. Because I know it helps me. But today, today I kind of got a hot button ticket that I'm going to talk about because, I try to be optimistic. I really always try to be that glass half full kind of person. But, there's just times where people knock your glass over, and I always tell my kids, eyes on your own paper, which is a really, really, it's a subtle, calmer way of telling you to mind your own damn business. And I do a pretty good job of that myself. I try to not get into people's shit. I try not to get into people's problems. I try to be there for others, and I try to listen, or I try to observe. And, this political thing is getting to me because I do my best also not to share my political views on things. Everyone that knows me knows where I stand. Everyone that knows me. I mean, I don't have to take claim, but I'm a pro-life libertarian. That's all I need to say. It's simple. I'm not going to argue with anyone, and that's the reason I really don't talk politics anymore, because it's never a discussion. It's never an enlightenment. It's never a intelligent dialogue. No conversation. You just got people spouting their sides and arguing, and I've been in that before. I used to be on that, and it was, looking back, whenever Facebook pops up with a memory, I delete it because it's embarrassing. I don't claim that as part of, anything of who I am. It was just, it was where I was at the time, and I'm all for accepting that, but no. But people have really made so much of what's going on political based. We've got bigger problems than people standing and kneeling to worry about. And I get it. People are passionate about it. Absolutely. People love their flag. They love their country. I love my country. This is the greatest country in the world. Hands down. Our government's screwed up. There's a lot of, things going on that aren't right, but we've still got it better than everyone else. People talk about China. China's government is rich. Their people are poor. Our government is not rich because it spends money that's not it's not theirs. It's not our government it's not a business. Our government does not have money. Our government spends borrowed money. Our government spends money that's based off of bonds that don't have any tangible value to them. We don't go off of a gold standard anymore. We don't go off of anything that holds real value. We go off of a bunch of paper and credit. And we wonder why it's so easy to build debt. We're following we follow the same principles as our government. We're so worried about what people are owed and what rights people have. The problem with rights is people really tend to confuse rights with entitlements, or vice versa. They confuse entitlements as a right. Now, I'm not going to go deep into that because I don't feel like stirring up that shitstorm. I will gladly have a conversation with anyone as long as you will be calm. But, nobody owes you anything. The world does not owe you a damn thing. It doesn't owe you free health care. It doesn't owe you free education. It doesn't owe you free food. It doesn't owe you free shit. And it's frustrating because we all have little entitlements that we go off of. Even myself, I for the longest time was in this state of mind where I work really hard. I make damn good money. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to buy the things that I want or have the things that I want. In hindsight, there was a huge reason that I shouldn't have the things that I wanted because I couldn't fucking afford them. It's as simple as that. And looking back now, that was probably poor choices that I made, but that's part of growing. It happens. You stay stuck on it. But everybody's so fixated on what somebody else is doing wrong instead of focusing on the things that they can be doing to improve themselves, to improve the areas around them, to improve their country that they're so down upon. You know, people do have the right to take a knee during the national anthem, just the same as you have a right not to watch them take a knee. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but it also doesn't mean you pick a fight with them over it. Seriously, there is bigger things to worry about than what somebody does, even if it is disrespectful. You know, the way I try to look at things is, as long as you're not infringing upon someone else's rights or hurting someone else, I'm going to leave you alone. You know, if I care about you and you're doing something really stupid, I may intervene and tell you, just the same as I would hope someone that cares about me would do. You know, I tend to surround myself with people that do that. I don't have an option of whether or not they do. They forcefully let me know that I'm screwing up, and I'm grateful for it. Even if it pisses me off at the time, I'm grateful for it. You know, so I'm trying not to digress too much. I'm trying to keep on task today to keep this relatively short. But, you know, yesterday, maybe even the day before, I'm pretty sure it was yesterday, I was on Facebook just catching up, you know, got off work, was relaxing, and I was just seeing it was animosity over one thing after another. And it's not just people sharing their opinions and their thoughts. You know, that's acceptable. You know, people were attacking each other, just being brutal. And these are the same people that I've seen out together having a great time, having intelligent conversation about things that they share, but you disagree on one thing, and holy shit. You know, where does that come from? Where does that animosity come from? Where does that inner anger and hatred come from? You know, we are all conditioned to see things in a very specific way and to believe things in a very specific way. You know, some people feel things out more than others. Some people think things out more than others. But in the end, you know, we are all responsible for our own choices in our own lives. And we fixate too much on other people's. You know, I'm not referring to people making innocuous little statements that really have no bearing. You know, I'm talking about the deep-rooted hate, you know, cut right through people's statements. And it just kind of saddens me. You know, life is short. Life is beautiful. There is a lot that we can gain, and there's a lot we're supposed to give. And I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. You know, it's just, the next time you find yourself that angry about something someone else is doing, your immediate reaction can be, okay, are they hurting anyone? Okay, well, they're not hurting anyone. Okay, well, are they infringing on anyone's rights? Is anyone in immediate danger? If the answer to that is the no, take a step back before you decide to start popping off at the mouth or screaming, or, you know, get your keyboard hero going on, keyboard warrior, whatever it's called. You know, because, like I've said before, words matter. You know, you are giving a projection and image of who you are as a person. And as much as I say you shouldn't give a shit about what anyone else thinks about you, you know, there's no reason to put other people down in a position where some people aren't strong enough to not take stuff personally. Some people aren't strong enough, and that's not your responsibility to worry about that. But it is your responsibility to mind your own shit. You know, be a decent human being. It doesn't cost anything to be decent to people. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. You know, my favorite bit of advice, and I give it very frequently, is don't be a dick. It's simple. Not for everybody, but it's relatively simple for most. You know, we are all here with the same purpose, you know, to live our lives to the fullest. You know, we're here to take care of our families and our children. And and having loving relationships with our friends and our partners and our families. And at the end of the day, all that shit you got angry about, all those people you pissed off, I've seen the F word on Facebook more times back and forth here recently than I have in a long time, and I've got some foul-mouthed friends, and I know I let a lot fly, and I dropped a word today that I try to keep off these, but what's the point in hate? What's the point in being so angry? There's nothing wrong with sharing or expressing your views or your opinions. But what point do we start separating what we feel is right over what somebody else feels is right? At what point are we okay to put others down? So just take that into mind. Next time you get that angry, remember, there are bigger things in the world to worry about than hating each other, especially over things that may be a big deal, but they're not important enough to cause an even bigger divide between everyone and our country. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everybody.